Hello, welcome to the lunch edition of MBC News, and you are with me, Evelis Chingambi. Coming up this afternoon, First Lady Madam Gertrude Mutharika urges the Malawi national women's and men's netball teams to prepare well ahead of the Netball Africa Cup. The Malawi Environmental Protection Authority MEPA updates on finding and closing non-compliant factories producing and distributing non-biodegradable thin plastic papers. And government clarifies the revised tax measures, saying it will help restore the economy. Thank you for joining us. Now the news in detail. The First Lady, Madam Gertrude Mutharika, has urged the Malawi national women's and men's netball teams to prepare well ahead of the Netball Africa Cup. She paid a visit to the squads at their training base, the Griffin Sayenda Sports Complex in Lilongwe. Foster Maulidi with the details.
The First Lady says she has all the hopes that the teams will conquer and the trophy will remain home as the host. And it was a moment of jubilation after the First Lady announced that the State President, Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, has made a 5 million kwacha donation to the two teams to help them with their preparations ahead of the crucial continental showpiece. Netball Association of Malawi NAM General Secretary Yamikani Kauma held the First Lady for the visit.
The coming in and the words of encouragement that she has given to the players, we are happy to say that we are moving together and she has promised to help us more. So as Netball Association, we are happy to say that the camping will be, there will be no challenges. We are sure that they will help us. As you can see that she has already started helping us. She has given us 5 million for the Malawi Queens and 5 million for the Malawi Kings. We are happy to say that the girls, they have that morale to say they will play with they have been motivated, so we are happy.
Minister of Sports Patricia Wiskes says Malawi is geared to host the tournament and the preparations are at an advanced stage for Malawi to host this historic tournament.
As a ministry, we are working hand in hand with the Netball Association and other stakeholders in the industry to make sure that we get this support. We still have 2 weeks to go. We are thinking something will happen within the 2-week window that we have. If you saw the structure that we are in 2 weeks ago, it wasn't the same. The wooden floor was not fixed. The chairs were in bad shape. But the ministry, together with the Netball Association, the contractor and other stakeholders, are working tirelessly to ensure that by the time we get to hosting the games, this structure will be up and running.
Malawi will host the 10 Nations tournament, which will run from 8th to the 14th of December, right here at the Griffin Sayenda Sports Complex in the capital, Lilongwe. From Lilongwe, this is Foster Maulidi.
Vice President Dr. Jane Ansah has asked the African Union and European Union to assist government in rural development, which has the potential to improve trade in the country. The Vice President made the appeal at the just-ended 7th AU-EU Summit in Luanda, Angola. She emphasized that agriculture remains Malawi's backbone in economy. Therefore, as the country is moving towards value addition, it is vital to put in place infrastructure that will facilitate trade between Malawi and other nations.
We are depending on agriculture for trade. And in fact, we already export a few commodities. Our biggest challenge is how to reach the ports in the Indian Ocean. And the shortest route for us is Mozambique, the Nakara corridor. In this agreement between the AU and the EU, there are 12 corridors of connectivity, and Nakara is one of them. We want it to be operational, and it should connect to Malawi so that we can do trade. And also, we have seen we are having challenges even with the fuel. Once that corridor is opened up, it will also ease fuel transportation. We are a landlocked country. We need to reach the ports on the Indian Ocean.
Government has planned to engage development partners to bridge the digital gap, which continues to affect women in the country. Chief Gender Development Officer Zomwe Hussein made the remarks in reaction to the study findings by Institute of Public Opinion and Research (IPO), which shows that access to smartphones can enhance digital capabilities amongst women. James Kachepa had an interview with Hussein.
This study is very important because it's the study which is looking into issues of women, and mostly women are the ones who are behind. There is a big gap between men and women on issues of digital technologies. So this research will assist the women to have that information and also to have knowledge on how they can use digital platforms. As a ministry responsible for gender, it has programs and also strategies on issues of empowering women. There's a program on women economic empowerment, and also the ministry is working with different stakeholders who are implementing activities on digital. So the ministry is key in implementing the activities which are there to promote the participation of women on digital platforms.
During the presentation of the study findings, this is what one of the research team leader from IPO, Philip Roster, said.
Smartphones and the cash grants lead to different effects. So we are working with women in around Blantyre who did not at the time of the study have a mobile phone. They may have had one in the past, but at the time of the study they did not have one. So for some of the participants, we provide them with the smartphone and the training. Others receive the equivalent value of the smartphone as a cash grant. And what we see is smartphones and cash lead to different effects. Whereas the smartphone increased women's digital capabilities, abilities to use mobile money, to use WhatsApp, to communicate with the phone, it did not lead to immediate economic returns. Whereas the cash grant, the women participants were able to translate that and invest that in micro-enterprise. That did lead to kind of more short-term economic benefits, but actually didn't increase their digital capabilities. So it appears we have this trade-off between digital gains and economic gains, that among these populations, but right now, if you receive the training to use a smartphone, you increase that digital capability, that doesn't translate into economic benefits. So we have to think about what are the business use cases with a smartphone. There are many that many are using, but for the new user, they are not intuitive. How do I use this technology for business application? Like that seems to be missing, right? This is among new users who are acquiring a phone for a first time. The social application is evident. Oh, I can talk with friends and family who live far away. I can use WhatsApp. I can do Google searches. I can use Facebook. But they don't see it as a business device.
Malawi is underutilizing opportunities to harvest rainwater. The Controller of Agriculture Extension and Technical Services in the Ministry of Agriculture, Alfred Munifombo, made the remarks during a Rainwater Harvesting Association conference in Lilongwe. He says government continues to call for promotion of rainwater harvesting to address water shortages that the country faces annually. Details with Chibililo Mtumodzi.
The conference brought together various stakeholders in the country's water sector to exchange ideas on how to improve water harvesting projects across the country. Speaking during the conference, Munifombo challenged the association to come up with a 10-year action plan, which he says will collaborate with other existing related frameworks under the Ministry of Agriculture.
In the soil, we have developed a 10-year implementation plan of how we can improve the health of our soils, which are heavily degraded. So our appeal to the association and to the members present in the conference is that maybe as association, in collaboration with our Department of Land Resource, why don't we also come up with a 10-year implementation plan in the promotion of harvesting, storage and usage of rainwater. And if that could be done, so we can be monitoring ourselves, because this climate shock is here to stay. And we cannot sit and wait for such a day when things will reverse. We better move fast. Like the presenters mentioned to us, in countries like Rwanda, Kenya, and even Tanzania, you mentioned a number of countries where this technology is well advanced. And when there's shortage of rainfall or shortage of drinking water, they depend on what they have harvested.
One of the areas which is benefiting from rainwater harvest programs is the health center in Area 25. Afshan Omar is running an agroecology and permaculture project at the clinic, which also benefits expectant mothers in the area.
So when women are coming to visit the facility on their antenatal visits, they learn about the maternity waiting home and the services that we are providing. So when they stay with us, they receive all of these different forms of education around compost, around water management, backyard gardens, healthy eating, cooking demonstrations, tree planting, and how to manage water successfully in a peri-urban area that is Area 25. And then they leave home. When they go, they receive tree seedlings as well that they can plant at home. Additionally, women that have severely malnourished children now register to a program. So on Fridays, we have about 150 children and their mothers that come, and we feed them and we teach them. And the idea is that they are part of this program for over a year. As the child's nutrition profile is improving, so is their education and output, and they are now integrating their learnings at home.
Another area which is also benefiting from rainwater harvest initiative is Sokankanansi Primary School in Area 43 in Lilongwe. An organization called Scope Malawi erected a calabash which captures 10,000 liters of rainwater that the school uses for different activities. The calabash is used for hand washing, and they also have come up with a fruit garden which benefits the community. Chipirirom Tumodzi, NBC News, Lilongwe.
You're watching NBC News and you are with me, Ebelis Chingambe. A reminder of the top stories. First Lady Madam Gertrude Mutharika urges the Malawi national women's and men's netball teams to prepare well ahead of the Netball Africa Cup. The Malawi Environmental Protection Authority MEPA upbeat on finding and closing non-compliant factories producing and distributing non-biodegradable thin plastic papers, and government clarifies the revised tax measures, saying it will help restore the economy.
Maluzinje! Fill your pockets with lots of cash through MBC2 on the go. Maluzinje! How to enter? Just dial star 4342 star 10 hash on your mobile phone. Enter your preferred number of tickets. You can buy up to 10 tickets for just 400 kwacha each. Enter your Airtel money on Pamba PIN. After you purchase, you will receive a ticket ID via SMS for each session. The more you play, the bigger your chances to win real instant cash every single day. Tune in to our daily live raffle draws on MBC2 on the go and Facebook page and see if you are today's lucky winner. This promo is regulated by Malawi Gaming and Lotteries Authority (MAGLA). No persons under the age of 18 are allowed to play. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. The Malawi Environmental Protection Authority MEPA has started closing and fining non-complying factories and wholesalers producing and distributing non-biodegradable thin plastics. MEPA's Environmental Information and Education Manager, Obren Chira, says the exercise is aimed at regulating the proliferation of thin plastics during the festive season. Chira notes that despite some challenges to enforce the ban, the current operation will be carried out without interference. He was speaking during one of such exercises in Malawi. He explains more.
The company found it worthy as we are approaching the Christmas period, where waste is also actually increases in quantities. So we have decided that we should target the wholesalers that are keeping the plastics in larger quantities, that we actually regulate as authority that they should not be utilized, those that are below 60 microns. And again, those that are appearing to not have the recycle logo, or maybe to also check those ones that are not displaying who is the manufacturer, those plastics with no labels, in other words, that I have mentioned, we are targeting those shops and we are fining them right away. As now you can see at MEPA, because we have more members joining us with enforcing the ban, so all those that are going to be found keeping those plastics that have been banned by the regulation, based on the regulation, we are going full throttle. They have to understand that the authority will not spare anyone with the fines. So they need to stop keeping such plastics.
Director of Secondary Schools in the Ministry of Education, Ruth Samati Gambari, has urged education stakeholders to channel their support towards other critical needs in the education sector following government's decision to abolish secondary school fees in government schools. She made the call in Blantyre during the closing ceremony of this year's Comfort annual general meeting, where she highlighted that the policy shift should inspire partners to reinvest their resources. She has since called for collaboration for the maximization of the saved money so that it directly improves learning in the country.
To advise them to start looking at other support that they can give to the learners. This may be an opportunity for them even to increase their support base in terms of the numbers, because the fees that has been removed can be able to support another learner in providing them other school materials, scholastic materials that can help them in the classroom. So it is an opportunity that more learners can be included in the bursary systems. So we're trying to remind them that the coming in of the free secondary education has got implications, which means they need to strategize so that they can make sure that they are still in the schools, they are supporting the schools, because other implications will mean teaching and learning materials will need more, infrastructure will need more, teachers will need more. So we still need the partners to come in to help us to implement this free secondary education.
During the AGM, Comfort announced an expansion of the MasterCard Foundation's Education Transition Program. Knight Kalanda is the board chairperson for Comfort Malawi.
The new support that we have received from MasterCard Foundation is targeting 6,550 students, both at the secondary and the tertiary level. Tertiary level, we are talking of closer to 1,000 students, the rest being students at the secondary school level. So this support is in addition to the support that we already got in 2016, which is coming to an end next year in 2026, around June, July or thereabouts. So what we witnessed today is a continuation of that support. So MasterCard Foundation has pumped in some additional resources. And that's why you saw that there is Comfort Canada in the picture as one of the partners in the funding agreement. So our work now will involve Comfort Canada to oversee what we are implementing on the ground, and the MasterCard Foundation providing the resources.
Economic experts have described government's fiscal and monetary policies as the right paths towards achieving macroeconomic stability. The new Democratic Progressive Party DPP-led administration has announced and implemented various policies aiming at achieving financial prudence, resource mobilization and debt sustainability, among others. James Kachepa reports.
Immediately after taking charge of the country's affairs, the DPP administration issued a directive to reduce expenditure and mobilize resources for food security from local and international partners, among others. Further to this, the government announced the mid-year budget on Friday last week with additional measures that aim at reducing expenditure and widening the revenue base while protecting the poor from the high cost of living. Commenting on these new policies, an economic expert, Edward Chirima, described them as the right steps in stabilizing the economy from the ruins it has faced in recent years.
When we start to see the benefits trickling down to the local person, in terms of stability of prices, in terms of availability of food, availability of foreign exchange. Because we know with the IMF, and if we put our house in order, then the foreign exchange challenges should be minimized. They could not be eliminated, but at least minimized. So the local person on the ground will benefit from the trickle-down effects. Fuel availability, medicine availability. Whilst the economy is healing, at the end of the day, it is the person on the local ground that we are targeting should benefit in the next few years to come.
Another economic expert also weighing in views is Chris Mbukwa.
Government that shows that something is not right and there is need to make some corrective measures. I can see positive contribution towards stabilizing the economy in the short run, an engagement with the president and the regional chiefs in Africa for IMF. Those are initial meetings that kickstart the probability or the possibility of entering into an extended credit facility. We really require at the moment to stabilize the foreign exchange shortages.
The Malawi economy has suffered rising inflation rate, a rising cost of living, fuel scarcity, and forex shortages, which the DPP administration has committed to address as priority areas. James Kachepa, MBC News, Blantyre.
Government has clarified the revised tax measures, saying it will help restore the country's economy and lessen economic burden on vulnerable households. Minister of Information Shadrack Namalumba said this after some members of parliament requested for clarification on the tax measures that government has introduced, including pay-as-you-earn payee. The minister urged Malawians to take a keen interest in understanding the new tax measures, saying it is in the country's interest.
Taxes, particularly PAYE, has been revised. And the revision, what it means is that those that earn more, in fact, it is a tax. The revision is targeting those that are earning more, to contribute more to the budget. It is therefore not targeting those that earn less. In fact, I can just say if you are getting one kwaja to 200,000, in the previous regime of my Congress Party, that person was paying more taxes. Under this regime, that person is paying less taxes. For example, you do get 170,000. Under the old regime, 170,000, you were paying 4,000 tax PAYE. You were going home with 166,000. Right now, under the new tax, the new government, the DPP government, that person earning 170,000 will not pay any taxes. Will get home with 170,000. Now, when you do the mathematics, the computation, you will see that the equilibrium point, or the point that you will be indifferent, that you don't pay more taxes than what you were paying. It is at a salary level.
Water and Environmental Sanitation Network, WESNET, has called for increased investment and innovation in the hygiene sector as many Malawians lack access to modern toilets and other sanitation-related facilities. The network's Vice Board Chairperson, Chandwira Chisi, made the call during the launch of the National Sanitation and Hygiene Week in Blantyre. The week runs from Monday 24th to this coming Friday.
Like I said, at the moment we still have cases of open defecation in the country. Figures might vary, but we're talking of not less than 400,000 people who are still practicing open defecation. That's not really good enough. We still have cases in urban areas where people do not have access to proper sanitation facilities, probably because they're living in slums and all that. Again, those are big needs. Most of our cities have got larger populations in slums or unplanned areas than planned areas. From the last statistics I remember, Lilongwe 76% of the people are living in slums or unplanned areas. That's where we have got the biggest sanitation challenges. And then we're also looking at public places like schools, healthcare facilities, markets, bus depots. If you look at how we are faring in terms of sanitation, waste management, honestly, there's a lot left to be desired.
The statistics that is available is showing that in 1992 we had 28% in terms of access to these issues, but now we have improved. It's showing that as of last year, showing that the government is doing, or the country is doing much better. We are now at the 6% that we are improving from where we started, showing that the government as well as our partners were moving forward to ensure that we have adequate hygiene in our facilities.
On a sad note, the body of the late Gerald Nyamacherenga will be laid to rest tomorrow at his home village, Saupa, Traditional Authority in Gabu, in Chukwawa district. A family member told Embassy that he passed on yesterday night at Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital in Blantyre. Late Nyamacherenga started working with the Malawi Broadcasting Corporation as an announcer in 1983 and moved on from the public broadcaster 17 years later. He was a producer of programs such as Ntawi ya Nyamata, The Morning Basket, Business Spectrum, and hits of the 80s. May his soul rest in peace. And that's it from us this afternoon. You were with me, Evelis Chingambe. Thanks for watching and good afternoon.
Malawi is dreaming big, and Malawi 2063 is a dream. But every dream starts small. It starts with our little children. This is ECD Week. Children in Malawi have a call to Malawi's president, cabinet ministers, and parliament.
We want increased funding allocation to support caregivers and learning materials.
We want increased development fund for upgrading and constructing safe, child-friendly CBCCs.
We want more money to scale up inclusive ECD services.
Malawi needs 36 billion kwacha for an ECD turnaround, and the time is now. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Gender, Children, Disability and Social Welfare and the CCP Synod of Livingstonia ECD Department with support from Roger Federer Foundation.
Peza ni chisangalalo cha banja lanu lonse ndi Azam